Is your inbox a mess? We're going to talk about it on today's podcast.
I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life.
What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast, and I'm excited that you joined me today because we're going to talk about your inbox. Now, what came to your mind when I said that? When I said, hey, is your inbox a mess? It could have brought up a lot of things, right? And for most people in today's world, it was probably that it brought up an idea of your email. And for some of you, maybe not. Maybe some of you don't use your email that much, or maybe some of you have decided, well, I'm not going to use my email because, it's just whatever. But it might be that it just got too cluttered. And I don't know how you feel about that, but when your email is cluttered, like, are you somebody that has like 10,000 unopened messages? Like, did you just stop opening them? Because maybe you've realized that with Google, it'll just keep putting the messages in and it kind of filters some out, some in. Sometimes you don't get your messages. But you know what? It's an interesting thing because as your Google inbox is a mess, you could actually do the same thing with your internal inbox. Your inbox is the place where everything that's happening in your world all starts to come in. And what happens is, whether you like it or not, you have filters that set up for you since you were a kid, since before you were coherent. You had filters that were set up for you, and they started being set up for you as you went. So you learned that if you cried, you would get attention. If you cried, you'd get food. If you cried, you'd get your diaper changed. If you cried, you would get love. If you cried, they would check on you and make sure you were okay, right? And so you learned one skill immediately that taught you that you could get a whole slew of other things. And so a filter was created. Now, something happened on the outside, and then you created the filter, and then the information went somewhere. Now, if it's your inbox, if you didn't know this, you can actually filter all of your stuff in your inbox so that the minute it hits your inbox, it goes where you would like it to go. How cool is that? Setting up filters. Now, if you use Google, the filter system is amazing and it's really easy to use. It just takes a couple seconds. If you need to know how to do that, send me an email at info@magicforlife.com. I will make sure that you learn how to filter your emails. I taught this to my daughter the other day, and it's changed her world. Yes, it'll change your world, right? Because what happens is your email box actually can end up being something that's really useful, really functional. And once you know how to set up filters on the emails that you have coming in, it'll change how you utilize this amazing tool that you have. And it's easy. Okay. Now, the reason we're talking about this is because you can actually set up filters for yourself. In fact, everything that's happening in your world, everything from the outside in, is coming in through your ears, through your eyes, through your smell, through your taste, through your touch. And then you filter it out, and then you send it back out to the world in one way or the other, right? How you speak sends it back out to the world. How you behave sends it back out to the world. The things that are coming in are being filtered. And so the question is, did you set up your filters, or are you operating off of filters that were given to you ages ago, right? Here's an interesting filter. You're walking, maybe this was when you were little, right? You're walking down the hallway with mom, with dad, with a sibling, and all of a sudden they freak out. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, what's that? Oh, and they freak out and they show you and you look and you're like, what are they freaking out about? You can tell there's something in their behavior, there's something that they're freaking out about. And you say, what's wrong? Or you don't even ask. They just go, there's a spider on the floor. There's a spider. And they freak out and they like don't want to get near it. They go crawl up a wall somewhere in the room. And you look over and you see there's a spider. And so instantly a filter is created for you, right? Instantly a filter is created. What's the filter? That when I see a spider like that, I should freak out and go crawl up a wall somewhere, right? And that filter was created for you. Now, if you had the discerning ability at that time to go, it's just a spider, we're 2,000 times bigger than it. The odds of it hurting us are slim. There are only, I think, 3 known poisonous spiders in all of America. If you're in America listening to this, I mean, the number of poisonous spiders in the world it's massively small. In my area, there's maybe only one, and it's very rare. So spiders are teeny, right? But you learned through learning about a filter that wasn't even yours. And if it was your parent that freaked out about the spider, then now it's like, well, if mom and dad freaked out about the spider, then I should also freak out about the spider because they see that it's dangerous. And I am hardwired to preserve life. Like that is at the very base of everything we do. We're hardwired to preserve life. So if mom or dad freaked out about the spider, then I should also freak out about the spider because that's how I stay alive. And that's how we teach, right? We don't say, now, you know, little Johnny, you should be afraid of spiders because they could kill you. Well, maybe if you lived in an area where there was a poisonous spider and if you saw it, you should run. Maybe that's something you would actually say. But in most instances, it's about how we watch, how we observe, how we learn through actions that were given to us. Now, it's interesting because one of my best friends was visiting from out of town, and he and his family were at our house. And all of a sudden, one of the kids freaked out and they were like, oh my gosh, it's a huge spider. Now, it was a wolf spider. Now, wolf spiders tend to look a little ominous. They look a little grisly and mean, right? It's a good name for them, wolf spiders. And he happened to be there. He walked over and looked and he went, oh. And he put his hand there, scooped it up in his hand, and was like, oh, this guy's not going to hurt anybody. And he walked outside and he set it outside. And everybody was like, oh, you just picked up that spider. Are you kidding? What did you just do? And he's like, it's just a spider. It doesn't even bite. It's not a big deal. And he just like, and so all of a sudden their paradigm, their filter was all jacked up. Right, because now they're like, now they're still afraid of spiders because they learned that filter from mom and, well, not dad in this case, but they learned that filter, and now all of a sudden they were operating off of that filter. Now, what filters have you created? You could go and create all your filters for your inbox so that all the most important messages that you needed would show up in the place that you wanted them to. And there's lots of different ways to set up your filters. You see, I have my consulting clients, and I want their emails to go into a specific inbox because I don't want to miss them. I have my marketers that I follow, and they all get sorted into their folders because I want to not get distracted by their amazing sales messages, because they have amazing sales messages. But I don't want to get distracted by that unless I want to be distracted by it, in which case I will go to my favorite Russell Brunson's folder, open his folder and go read his emails so that I can learn about his sales process. Right? But if not, then I constantly am getting barraged by sales messages from all of the marketing people that I follow. Right? Now, if there's somebody that I want to follow for a particular topic, they get their own folder, and I can create these filters. Now, why not do that with our life? Why not do that with our emotions? You see, sometimes somebody else's emotions start to get in and you take them on, you get in their box, you get in their thing, and you didn't filter it out first. That's huge, right? So if one of my kids comes crying to me, the first thing I'm going to do is filter that out and say, what are they crying about? What's going on? What do they need help with? Do they need some sympathy, some empathy? Do they need just somebody to cry with because they were sad? Okay. Do they need to stop crying because it's not something that is a crying thing, right? So you have to kind of look at it. What happened? Well, I dropped my toy. Pick it up. Okay, well, that was done. All right, we don't need to be crying about that. What happened? The dog ate my toy. Well, wait till he poops it out and then we're good, right? I don't know what it is that's the case, right? But we have to learn to actually filter the things that are coming in better. And I propose that the odds are your filters in some things suck. So if you can stop for a second and start to think about some of the challenges that are going on in your world and understand that the filters that you're running those challenges through might need to be adjusted, not the actual thing that's coming in, right? And that's not that bad, right? You can actually adjust those filters with fairly simple process, right? But why not start with your Google and your Gmail? If you're not using Gmail, what are you doing, right? Nobody uses AOL anymore. Sorry about that. Go find a Gmail account. Come on, guys. Gmail has so many cool resources and so many cool things. Go get a Gmail account. They're free. But their filtering system, most of their email is in better shape than most other emails, right? Hotmail, I think they still have the same thing. Other forms of email, right? They all still have some type of filtering, but for goodness sakes, Google's free. Go use Google. So we got to improve your filters. So this is your challenge for today. I want you to start to pay attention to some of the filters that you might be utilizing or not. Yeah, I bet you even have some good filters, because maybe you have a boss that's angry, or maybe you have an employee or somebody that works for you that is typically in a mood, and you've learned to filter out their mood, and now they don't affect you anymore, right? Maybe your spouse has a thing that they do that you've learned to just filter out because you don't see it anymore. It's not necessary to deal with that thing, right? Filters are our friend. We have to learn what our good filters are. We have to learn what our bad filters are. And I challenge you to start to go identify your filters or create some filters today. Anyway, hope this helps. If you know somebody that needs to hear this message, please share it with them. We're on everywhere. We're on YouTube and Google Podcasts and Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes. We're all over the place. Share the podcast with them and let iTunes know that this show is awesome. Please leave me a rating, a good one. If you have good things to say, hey, if you don't have good things to say, let me know, and I'll look at those too, right? But let me know that you're out there. Let us know to keep creating this awesome content, and we'll see you at the next podcast. Bye-bye.
Hey lifers, we expect upgrades to the base operating functions of the things like our phones, cars, and even refrigerators. Why then has it not been made a priority that we upgrade the operating systems of our emotional states? We dance around the subject of emotional mastery from a young age. We have so much more knowledge in today's world, yet we're still teaching outdated methods of emotional education, if any are being taught at all. It's time for a change. It's time for an upgrade to our emotional education. Let me help you learn how to do that. Pick up your free copy of Every Minute at everyminutebook.com.